The complexity has gotten to a place where it feels unmanageable and everybody's just surviving.
It's the process, not the singular product. Like over the course of time, like this is gonna work.
How do I reduce the ordinary so that I can have more time for the extraordinary, so that life stays in balance?
How are you gonna deliver them from where they are today to where they wanna be tomorrow? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. If you've been hunting for a brunch spot that understands food allergies and has bold flavors, look no further than Fire and Ice Cafe in Indianapolis. This hidden gem serves up European-inspired dishes that are entirely gluten-free. They're also completely free from peanuts, tree nuts, soy, sesame, fish, and crustaceans. We're talking biscuits, sandwiches, crepes, falafel bowls, pastries, and of course, all your favorite brunch drinks, crafted with serious care and a whole lot of flavor. Whether you've got food restrictions or just interested in great taste, this place is a must visit. Seriously, I don't have dietary restrictions, but the food actually rocks here. You definitely need to check it out. Grab your brunch crew and head to Fire and Ice Cafe at 6211 Allisonville Road, and your taste buds are gonna thank you. Now let's dive into the episode. Today I'm joined by Tiffany Sauder, the founder and host of the Life of Ann Project. Now, previous to this endeavor, she served as founder and CEO of Element 3, an Indianapolis-based marketing agency. You've probably heard about it. It's a pretty big deal here in Central Indiana and beyond. But now, over the past few years, she has shifted her focus to the Life of Ann Project. And I'm really excited to dive into this. We're gonna skip through a little bit of all of the 20-year journey of growing Element 3 to talk about what got Tiffany really fired up about the Life of Ann Project and how that this ideology, I suppose, has changed her life. Now she's hoping changing the lives of other working professionals across America, across the world. Tiffany, welcome to Get In.
Thank you, Nate.
I'm really excited for this one. Tiffany has been a longtime mentor of mine, so it's fun to get to sit in the host chair and interview and learn a little bit more about what you're up to these days.
Yeah, the first time we met, you were being interviewed for the Orr Fellowship, and I was interviewing you, so it is really sweet full circle moment.
It is a full circle moment. Yes, shout out to Orr Fellowship, a great organization that brings tons of cool, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders to Indiana. Mm-hmm. So the first thing we want to start with is the genesis of the Life of Ann. So from doing some research and looking around, this started at kind of a low point for you. Like what led you to want to fix things, change things, kind of like shake up your entire life. Can you take us back to that moment? I think you said 2017, 2018?
Yep, that's exactly right. So in 2018, like everything I had been working for started to fall apart. And my marriage was in a really hard spot. My business was really in a difficult spot. And I did not know who I was anymore. We had 3 kids at the time. My husband had a huge career. And we had spent the better part of 15 years just doing the things, amassing the stuff. We were living in a house that I was, that I loved. I had a title that I was excited about. I had kids that were healthy and striving. And I was just lost in all of it because we had just spent time with life being eternally additive. It was like more kids, more jobs, more boards, more church, more workouts, more and more and more. And everything started to crash under the weight of all of this stuff. And so in 2018, it was totally rock bottom.
Totally rock bottom. But from the outside looking in, it's like you've been the CEO for, at that point, 15 plus years?
Totally, yeah.
Where you've founded this company. It's, you have tons of employees at that point. You're doing well from the outside looking in.
Totally.
3 kids. Like when you say rock bottom, like take us to like what you were feeling and how the feeling of rock bottom felt for you.
Like manifested itself in some super difficult conversations. One was my husband and I looking at each other and saying, like, we deserve more than we are giving one another. And if we don't figure out how to change this, it's not going to be. And, as a little girl, I laid in bed at night imagining that I was going to be married for 50 years and have a family and feel fulfilled in life. And it was like this relationship had become completely transactional. And we both said to each other, we expect excellence in every area of our lives. Why are we accepting such mediocrity in who we are in our marriage and relationship? And when the outside world praises you and is excited when you walk into the room and sees you as talented and great, and you don't feel that same way in your like most supposed to be most treasured and intimate relationship, like that's a really scary moment for both of you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't even imagine, especially, I think I hear a lot about people give so much. Like you wake up 5 a.m. and you start going, hit the workout, you go to work, you lead this team, then you have a meeting for a board, and then you show up at a volleyball game. And by the time you get back home, like all that's left is fumes to like do all of the thing. And on top of that, it's like you got to maintain your house and feed your kids and do all of these things. So what got you to the moment of like, okay, you know, you have this conversation, you look each other in the eyes, you say things are going to change. A lot of people, a lot of times say, yeah, this time I'll change. Like this time things are going to be different. What was the first domino that kind of fell to actually make change?
Well, I think in our marriage, it was that we went, I say there was like triage, and then there was like long-term rebuilding and reestablishing patterns and communication, et cetera. The triage was we went to therapy, and we chose an option that's called Hope Restored. And it is, I think it was 3 nights, 4 days, or 4 nights, 5 days. It's like, my husband, when we pulled up, he's like, this feels like juvie. Like you drive to this middle of nowhere place.
Oh, this is like relationship summer camp.
Yes, it's like yes, but you know.
Is it just you two?
Shows
or is
up
there
real
like other,
complicated.
No,
there's other couples. We ended up doing it's 2 therapists and the 2 of us. It's hilarious. For 8 hours a day for 3 or 4 days. So they say it's the equivalent of 6 to 12 months of therapy, which it sounds insane, and it is insane. But for busy families, when are you going to try to find these 1 hour moments 1 week at a time? Like we had to figure this out. And because we're both driven and extreme and want massive results, it was like literally the version of therapy that matched the pace and energy that I was like, we're fixing this. Like we're fixing this in the most intense way. And I think we both knew leaving that we would know if our marriage was going to be repaired or not. We both knew that.
Wow. Okay.
The most intense thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing, you said 4 days, 3 nights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Okay.
And that's all you're doing. Your phones don't work. It was in Branson, Missouri, which there's literally nowhere even to escape to.
Nothing like, relationship camp in Branson, Missouri. I mean, okay. You leave there super energized, right?
We left there with hope.
With hope. What's that? That's good.
Yeah, it's called Hope Restored. It's like silly, but it's true. Like we literally left there with hope.
You left there with hope. And so you have this small flame that's like, okay, we have some hope. If something doesn't change fundamentally, like systematically, if those things don't change, you're just going to because you're not going to be at camp for the rest of your life.
So yeah, but that's exactly the point. The Life of Anne project, going back to that quickly, is literally systems and frameworks that you put inside of your home that establish clear priorities, clear communication, clear ownership and accountability, and an environment that everybody knows what's going to happen. And some of what had happened was that his priorities and my priorities, we never took the time to actually decide in each new season of life, how are our priorities the same or different than where we just came from?
This kind of seems like, and I know that E3 operates on EOS.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like EOS for the household a little bit?
For sure. I think that's an easy, sort of pick up mentally for people. At EOS, you have L10s. We have a family meeting every Sunday night where we go through
all the whole crew. Because now you have 4 kids.
The whole Sauder family. Yeah, we sit down.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Do you have rocks for the month?
We have, I call them seasonal priorities. So when your kids are in school, your family tracks the school year. So we have first semester, second semester, and summer are 3 very different seasons for us. Which kids are in sports, which kids are not in sports. My husband has certain huge travel seasons, and so there's just different things that are required of my time. And so the ability to be able to look ahead and see, what do you have coming? What forces are going to be on your life? What emotions are you going to be dealing with? How do I create capacity for you in the season that is coming? And how do we go into these seasons as a teammate?
Yeah.
Instead of, we never took the time to really communicate. It's this constant tug of war for time, attention, resources, and you don't ever have time to sit down and talk about anything. So then you start making decisions independently with one another. Your lives slowly start moving away from one another. Yeah. And it turns into the mess that we made. Yeah. And so it was this triage of look, we had gaping wounds that needed packed and wounded and all, sort of all the things. Yeah. And we needed to do that healing. But I knew my job, and I started to look at my job inside of the home, is I'm the COO. It's a big business, our family. There's 6 people who are there. There's a lot of different things that we're trying to get done. There's a lot of money that flows through. Go ahead.
6 varying priorities, like
Totally.
Because I think you have high school all the way down to like elementary, middle school.
Well, we're high school, middle school, elementary, preschool. Right now.
Oh, you have the full.
Yeah,
literally
we're
every
16
season,
to 4.
Literally every season. So it's like a 16-year-old is worried about like a prom dress and a date or maybe like swimming. Right? I think I see some stuff on Instagram. So like sports versus like a 4-year-old is worried about like chicken nuggets and stuff. And like everyone has their, like, you are 6 people, varying priorities, that's just a really interesting way to have this L10 type family meeting.
We're going into summer right now. So literally as a family, we have sat down and I know all of my girls' priorities for the summer. So now I am a facilitator of those things. I hate is same day solving. I don't want any same day requests. Like, if you need me to pick you up at Starbucks at 4:30, I need to know that on Sunday in our family meeting. I don't have the capacity to shift to that request same day. And it teaches my girls to plan. They need to have agency over their time.
For high schoolers. Oh my gosh.
Well, you're teaching that executive function.
Yeah.
And that's totally part of it is I want to teach that executive function. It's so important that it's as developed as possible before she goes to college.
One of my wrestlers always needs a ride every Tuesday, but he always asks me every Tuesday. I have it blocked in my calendar because I know he's going to ask me.
Yeah.
But it's always like Tuesday at 2. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like, good thing I have this blocked up. But like, he never like says, hey, will you just do this recurring? Or like, can we talk like a couple? No, it's every Tuesday at 2:00. I get and we can like literally scroll back through. So this is a good life skill.
But as a mom, you can facilitate that moment. So when we sit down as a family at our family meeting, the girls know they need to have looked ahead at what's coming, what clubs are meeting, what 6 dozen cupcakes do I need, like whatever the things are. And so it's setting a marker for that habit for them in the same way that you have reminders in your calendar to do stuff. And so it's teaching that.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, and we're going to get into like the nitty gritty of that. But I want to talk through, you get back from Branson, Missouri. You know that things need to change. I heard this really good analogy, pickle water, like the vinegar that brines pickles.
Yeah.
It's like you can have all these great cucumbers. You can go out and pick the freshest cucumber, but if you drop it back in the pickle jar, it's going to become a pickle, right? So you guys did this whole hopes restored. You have this fresh cucumber, but if you drop it back in the brine, it's going to become a pickle again. So what did you have to do to change that? What were like the first baby steps?
I'm always like get self-conscious that this sounds like our life is militant, but it's actually quite fun. One of the things we did was just put time back together on the calendar, which is an important part of a relationship. And so when we would look at the year that was coming, we would put that time on there first. So our agreed upon date night, one of the things I teach is making things very explicit because we have things that are implicit. So like, hey, we should spend more time together.
So easy.
Is an impossible thing to manage.
Yes, but it's easy. Yeah, we should. Like,
what is more? How much is enough? Your more and my more might be different things. What does it mean by time? What are we doing in that? Are we playing together? Are we going out for dinner? Are we like, what? It's a very implicit thing. We should spend more time together. It's actually not that helpful. It's just directive, like directional. So implicit expectations create a lot of messes between people, but let's just use couples because we're talking about that because it's like, we said we were going to spend more time together. I thought that meant that you were going to be home every day at 6:00. And he was like, I thought we were going to spend more time together, which meant that you were going to watch sports with me on Sunday. Like, because we never defined what spending more time together means and made it an explicit agreement. So it's explicitly defined and we both say yes.
Wow.
Then it turns into a mess. And so this is another key principle that I teach inside the Life of And is we have to get out of all these implicit agreements in our families between our parents and kids, between the relationships between our siblings, and in our relationship as husband and wife, or whatever relationship you're in. We have a date night. It's the first Friday of every month. Okay, so that's very explicit.
And you just go in your calendar and you can pencil off 12.
It's literally a recurring meeting on our calendars because we're ruled by our calendars. Whoever can't make it, it's their job to reschedule it. Because there's sometimes you're out of town, I might go see my sister. Like, it doesn't mean that you can never do anything else on a first Friday. It just means that whoever can't make it, it's their job to work with the other partner and reschedule a date that works for both of you. Okay? So that gets us together 12 times a year. Now, what are we going to do?
Is this just you and your husband?
Just my husband and I.
Okay, yeah, amazing.
So that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like, that's how that works. It's very explicit. And I plan all of the dates except for our one trip a year away and our anniversary in September. He does those too. It's just very clear. Now I get to be like, what do I want to do? I have all these adventurous things I want to try to do. And he is leading a massive organization, and it's fun for me to do that. So it's very clear. This is how we're going to spend more time together. That is an example of us moving from we want to spend more time together to it being very clearly defined.
And I mean, you two are both like successful, business-oriented, entrepreneurial people. Makes sense. Let's say someone out there is listening and like maybe has been married a year, and let's use the great example of my good friend Cade Jones, because he just got married, had his first kid.
Yeah, I know Cade, yeah.
Yeah, of course, right? He listens sometimes. He wants to instill something like this into their house or bring this idea there. How do you like communicate that to a partner if like both of you don't know what EOS is or don't know what this like the business kind of catalog of it?
I think you can start with things like the 5 love languages or something like that, where it's like, hey, we need to first understand, how do both of us feel loved? That's the most important thing. My husband and I both, it's time together.
Yeah.
And in this season of life, the most sustainable number of times for my husband and I to get together is 1 time a month. That doesn't mean that's the only times we're together. But as far as us alone and not at an event together or a YPO thing or something like that, 1 time a month is like what we can sustain. It's silly, but we've got a million kids and a ton of commitments. And so that's what we can protect. Kate and Mahela's season of life, they can do the exact same thing, but likely they have more things that they can do. And they can say like, hey, twice a week, we want to take a walk on the Monon with our little guy. And so, Cade's not going to play basketball or work out after work those days or something like that. Again, It's just about saying, how do we both feel loved? How does Mahela feel Cade like involved in their son in this season? And how do you just like say this? And I think when we didn't have as many kids and quite as many, we were home together more naturally. I think as life starts to really speed up, you have to start to say, no, this is together time, because the rest of our calendar takes us apart too often.
From the outside, as a business-minded person, I'm like, oh yeah, like I have a girlfriend. She lives in Florida, and we're gonna just like expose everything on this podcast.
Yeah, let's do this.
She lives in Florida.
Yeah.
It's obviously long distance, hard, but that's just like the season of life that we're in. But literally 2 weeks ago, it's like we had the conversation, we should do date nights, or like we should do like virtual like cooking, whatever. But it was like we should basically saying we should spend more time together.
Yes.
But it wasn't like who's gonna plan it, what night we're gonna do it, like blah blah blah. And she like works in healthcare, so she's not like business, doesn't like live by the GCal. Like I live by the GCal. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna be like, okay, this is like I'm gonna take this framework and like institute it here of like, I'm going to have virtual date night on Tuesdays, and this is what it looks like, and this is what it is, and blah, blah, blah.
And what I tell people is say, because it does, if you're like, this is new, I'm not used to engaging this way in my personal relationships, that can feel foreign to people, is I say, try it for 90 days. Everybody kind of take some type of qualitative or quantitative barometer of like, how does the relationship feel today? And let's do this for 90 days, as hokey as it might feel to everybody, because one of the things you learn in therapy is you have to be willing to be vulnerable enough to try something that you feel super stupid at, because you feel super stupid at the right way of communicating, because you're so used to your patterns of like, you triggered me, I triggered you, that feels all very normal. But like, tell me more about that. And like, sort of like reflecting back, I hear you saying, like, it's all it feels very weird at the beginning. And the same thing with your time. Go ahead.
So how should I frame this? Where like, how should I like communicate that and say like, hey, this is how we put something like this into practice?
What's her name?
Her name's Lauren.
Okay, Lauren. I'd be like, hey, Lauren, last time we chatted, we said we really want to spend some more time together. I have got a couple of ideas about what that could practically look like. I'd love to share those with you. And then tomorrow when we chat, can you share some of your ideas with me? And we can kind of look at them together. And from that, kind of make a plan so that this goes from we wish to like we're actually doing it.
If anyone's listening out there, that phrase right there just changed some lives. Let's go. Okay, that actually sounds. I'm literally gonna copy that soundbite.
That's not nerdy. That's like normal.
What was really key to that was that you said, "Hey, we said we wanted to spend more time together."
Yeah,
and like that's gonna get everyone agreeing. Like, yeah, we did say that.
We said that.
And now I put this work in to like find out how we want to do this. But here's my homework for you.
Yeah.
Go do this thing. Tomorrow we're gonna come back and like put a plan together.
Yeah, let's pick 2 or 3 these things. And like, I have to have everything on a system because I'm actually terrible at remembering and I am really good at getting distracted. So I use systems to trap my own energy to move my priorities forward. Otherwise, I just get super distracted. I'm to the place in my family where I'm like, this is the system we're running. This is our family meeting. And this is the agreement we have in place, JR. But when you're starting, it needs to sound softer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because no one wants you to be like
yeah, this is our agreement.
Yeah, this is how we're going to run things.
But paying attention to when is it implicit and when is it explicit?
Yeah, that's the first thing. Like, I think that is like a game changing for any relationship. Like,
totally.
You're managing someone, you have a co-founder, you have a spouse, a girlfriend, best friend, like, because no one can read your mind.
Totally.
And there are times where I'm like, you should know this. But like, if you don't say it.
Totally. And sometimes we keep it implicit because we don't really want to do it. Like, hey, we should hang out more. It's like, if it's that group of friends, it's like, totally, we play poker every Tuesday. It's like, not that much, hang out more.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it's like the classic, like you're back in your hometown bar the night before Thanksgiving. Like, oh my gosh, like we should totally hang out more. Like, yeah, we should. So I'll hit you up sometime.
Yeah.
And then it's like
I purposefully left that very open.
Yeah, right. Okay, so how long did it take for you? I think this is like a clear example of like get your own oxygen mask on first before you go out and help the world. So how long did it take the Sauder family to get your oxygen mask on and feel like you were in a great spot or a better spot?
Yeah, I think people won't love this answer, but it's probably 2 years.
Why won't people love that?
Because we're just in such a quick fix world.
That's true.
When you really are changing behavior, it takes a ton of energy to resist the habits.
Well, how long had you guys been married?
Yeah,
up
like
until that
13 years. Yeah.
So, I mean, 2 years to change over a decade of
Yeah.
like wear and tear and habits. Like that's not an easy thing to do.
No, and it was, I would say our marriage got on track faster than that, but just the other areas of my life. I mean, my business was also going through, Nate, you probably are too in it right now, but there could be a day, and this is where I was at in my business, where I had given it so much of myself that I had no boundaries in place because it was like whatever it took to keep the baby alive, whatever it took for people to keep their jobs, whatever it took to deliver for our clients, whatever it took to manage the brand, whatever it took to like raise our, presence in Indianapolis, like whatever it took, that was my strategy. And it took me.
I mean, after 15 plus years, yeah.
Figuring out how to reclaim, and I don't even want to say like boundaries. It was really about reclaiming my identity in some ways because it had become so part of the business. My own worth rose and fall based on how the business was performing.
That's really tough. It's like based on, year-end profit and loss statement. It's like, okay, cool, we're successful. Or like tough seasons, clients come and go and leave. And I'm literally in the thick of that right now where it's like, shit. Like I thought that video was great, but only 10,000 people watched it. Like,
Yeah.
Like, am I not? And then it's like, you have to like go through and I have to like, no, like it's the process, not the singular product. Like over the course of time, like this is going to work and it's hard.
It's especially acute, I feel like, in the business you're in. I mean, as a creator at 44 years old, I don't think I could have done this 1 or 2 decades earlier because you are producing yourself as a product and having to be objective about what's good and what's bad. And at the same time, creating and criticizing your own idea. It's a wild mess. So
Yeah.
anyways.
And it's like, I don't think even, 5 years ago, I'm like, what is it, 2025? I'm 6 years into the professional world. And I would say in the last like 2 years, like I had to become very self-aware and very like, hey, even if this video flops or if this video does great, like I know who I am. I know my like core values. I know like the type of person that I am. And I know that like my life is not going to be, my happiness is not going to be dictated whether 1,000 people or 100,000 people watch this video. But I have to like remind myself. And like sometimes I like, and I'm like, no, like you have to be very grounded and like self-aware. But it was like a very interesting, hard journey to get to that point. Well, I'd love to talk about like what got you into creating content and like why like you pour a ton of effort into creating on Instagram, making reels, the Kentucky Derby fit, come on. And yeah, at 44, that's not necessarily like everyone's like first thing that they want to go and do.
The social media part is definitely a necessary evil. I think for me, it's just part of, I feel a responsibility to get the message out. So yeah, there's a podcast, there's a virtual learning experience, digital course, there's kind of free downloads, there's keynote speaking, all this kind of stuff. And you're trying to figure out what's the content ecosystem that reaches people in a way that is accessible to them. And it's kind of the Rubik's Cube.
What's the perfect situation for someone that like you need to be talking to?
It's the professional working woman who is saying, okay, I have committed to my professional career. I also want a family, or I have a family, and that's getting more complex as the kids get in school, and there's more schedules to manage, and there's daycare or childcare and nannies, and then you're married or your spouse works or doesn't work outside of the home. Oftentimes it's a 2-career family, and the complexity has gotten to a place where it feels unmanageable, and everybody's just surviving.
Yeah.
And you know it, but if you say it out loud, then it means we have to admit it. And if we admit it and we don't know what to do, like literally I have no other playbook other than just this surviving, chaotic, reactive way of living and existing. What do you just wait for the kids to leave the house in retirement? And it kind of feels like everybody's just holding their breath. And so I was like, that's my woman who I say, no, we have to stop. We have to stop the narrative that the only way to do this incredibly magical life that we get is a way that is reactive and chaotic and exhausting.
Or like on the other side would be like someone has to sacrifice. Like someone has to like give up their career or like not volunteer or do this, that, and the other thing. Like the whole premise of life of and. It's like you can have this and you can have this.
That's exactly right. Because the first, when my life was in chaos and I felt like the oxygen was just being compressed out of my body, when I laid in bed at night and thought about how to fix the problem, the first thing I went to was what do I have to quit to make all of this happen? And I felt like my options were I need to quit my family or I need to quit my career. It's like, quitting my family is like just a more embarrassing headline, you know?
I mean, you're not wrong.
You know, it's like, my heart, but it's just like, you can't really do that. And I didn't like, want to, but.
Yeah, no. And it's like, what's this all been for? Right.
Yeah.
Like 20 years building this company, like, is that, I don't know. And I think like a little bit, it's like, you have to know your core values and you have to like do some deep soul searching of like, yeah, you're sitting there and like, I'm in a state right now where it's like, I am literally scraping for minutes to like get this thing done and get that thing done and continue to have like hobbies and passions that I do not record and put on the internet. And I'm like the system piece of it, I've just always been so bad at, but I'm like trying. I'm like, what can we do? What can I do? And so I'm excited to like dive into some of the tips, tricks, things that, suggestions that you have for whether they're families, relationships, what people can do to take more control of their life.
So I think we need to look at our lives in kind of 2 areas, the ordinary and the extraordinary. So you said things like, I want to keep like hobbies that I don't put on the internet and time with friends and time with your girlfriend. Like those are extraordinary things, right?
Yeah.
And some of your work is extraordinary. Things that give you energy, give you vision, you get to learn, you get to share.
This right here, this is extraordinary.
This right here, this is
fun.
extraordinary. And then there's ordinary stuff, laundry and filling your car up with gas and cleaning your house or apartment. And like, there's just the ordinary things. And what I find happens in our lives as life gets more complex and we add a spouse, we add kids, we add boards, the ordinary bucket just gets filled up and up and up and up, and we start to diminish the extraordinary. We have less time to work out, we have fewer time for hobbies, it's replaced with running kids around, we have less just, introspection time as a human being, we have less time to dream and vision, we have less time to start new things, we have less time for and so our lives become completely consumed by the ordinary parts of maintaining the decisions we made like in our 20s. And the rest in our 30s and 40s and 50s become just the ordinary part of life. And so I started to look at my life in that way. And I said, how do I take, because we have only 24 hours in a day and the same amount of units of energy every single day. And I was like, how do I start to take ordinary out of my life so that I have more time for extraordinary? And we all have different definitions of ordinary, extraordinary. For me, like cooking, for an example, some may look at that and say, that's a terrible, ordinary task. And I say, I love that. I love cooking. To me, that's an extraordinary task. So we all have different definitions of what's ordinary and extraordinary. Putting your kids to bed. Some people say, oh my word, I'd love to figure out how to outsource that. Other people are like, oh my word, that's my favorite part of the day. So I don't care. Everybody's got their own intrinsic sort of definition of what ordinary and extraordinary looks like. But what I want people to start to think about is how do you, as life becomes more complex, as you make more money and get more resources, how do you not just accumulate stuff with that excess money that you have? Or the additional, if you get a raise each year, how do you take 3% of that, 5% of that, and try to figure out how do I reduce the ordinary so that I can have more time for the extraordinary, so that life stays in balance in a way that is, I'm managing and maintaining and keeping up with the things I own, and I'm respecting those things. But I also have time for adventure and joy and intimacy and fun and laughing and trying new things. And we don't take a 30-year hiatus on that aspect of our life and just come like sweeping back to it after retirement. So I had you outsource your laundry.
I'm really jazzed up. This is going to be fun.
That's when we look at our lives that way and start to say, so when I say it took me 2 years, I would look at about every quarter and I'd say, what's something that is ordinary that I can relieve my time of so that I have more time for my husband. I have more time for creativity with my kids. I have more time to rest. I have more time to be still because I was just manic.
I feel like a large part of it is never like this massive gaping thing of like, oh yeah, if I just cut this one thing, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts is literally what it's like. 15 minutes here, 20 minutes here, a commute, a this, a that, the other thing, and like driving and yada yada yada, and all of a sudden you're like, where did the time go? Like I like look back on my days sometime and I'm like, I don't know where the last 15 hours of my life went, but it's gone. So you did have me outsource my laundry. Talk to me about what got you set up with Poplin. Poplin and the whole experience there.
So Poplin is a nationwide service where you literally put your dirty laundry. Is this what you did?
Yes.
In a trash bag.
Yes.
And you set it outside of your house.
Yeah.
And you go to an app.
Yeah, my neighbors looked at me a little funny. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you go to an app and you say, my laundry's ready for you.
Yes.
And then a laundry pro come and gets it.
Yeah.
Puts it in their car, washes it, and has it back within 24 hours.
24 hours. Yeah.
And it's washed and folded. And was it folded better or worse than you do yourself?
Oh my gosh. Come on, so much better. Like,
right?
It was unreal better.
Right?
So good. And like very tiny. I was like so impressed with how they fold. I was like, what the? Because I put it in 2 bags and it came back in 1 bag. And I'm like, how did you even? Crazy. Yeah.
So it's $1 a pound. So this is why I think we have normalized at some level in my corner of the world getting somebody to come clean your house. People are like, yeah, they're like used to that. Sending out your laundry, people are like, what do you mean? That must be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air can afford to do that. I can't. And it must be complicated. And what if somebody sees my underwear? And it's like, well, I mean, you just get over it. So for my family of 6, it's like 8 hours a week of laundry.
Of like laundry time.
Yes. And so it gets done in one day. You send it out. It comes back the next day. And I do sort of like put it on the island and sort of like whistle. And everybody's got 15 minutes to go put everything away. So we don't have the mess. I don't have the visual mess of laundry all the time where there's like laundry basket that is waiting for you to fold it and put it away. I don't have a bunch of stuff sitting in their rooms in laundry baskets for the next day. We're not piecing together socks from some magical box somewhere in our house, as people are getting out the door for school. It's like laundry's done. You can send it out once or twice a week. So I just feel like it's financially really accessible, which we were warring over this a little bit. And
so like I'll reveal.
Yeah.
It was for 2 bags, like right around $30. Luckily I had a discount code. Tiffany 15 gets you $15 off your first order.
It's not really about the discount code, but if you want to try it, use my discount code.
So like it was, I think my total was $18, but like without the discount would have been $30.
Yep.
Which at first thing I said was, it's kind of pricey. Like $30 a week for someone to do my laundry. And that was like 2 bags of it. I probably would go through, I would probably be like, yeah, $30 to $40 a week to get it all done by someone else. And I was like, Tiffany, I don't know. That might be like, that's pretty pricey. And then, I mean, what was your retaliation to that?
Well, I said it's probably 2.5 hours of your time for those 2 laundry baskets. I was like, if you have 2.5 hours of your time back, do you think you can make $30 to $40 a week?
Like thinking about it that way is interesting. The other one I just thought of, okay, so let's say you and your spouse, significant other, if you had one dinner, which is $50 plus, you take that and instead you spend it on the laundry and go for a walk.
Or go play pickleball or go to a museum or totally.
Like do something that's cheaper. You could just take your date drinking money and put it in there and have the time to have like a fun moment.
Yeah. I mean, I've given up all kinds of things. I don't get my nails done because it's like, that's like $65 a week. Like I'd rather pay for help. Now I'm old enough to have to get my hair colored. But if you look back at other pictures, like I got my hair cut twice a year because I was like, I'm just not spending money on that kind of stuff because I want help. I want time back. Those kinds of things take my time and my money. So it's like, how do you find it in the margins of life and exactly what you're saying? And how do you exchange the ordinary, less ordinary for more extraordinary, which is exactly what you just did in that exchange. If I don't do my laundry and it costs me $40, how do I fill my extraordinary tank in a way where I'm like, I'd pay $40 for that every single time?
This episode was brought to you by our friends at Greek's Pizza. Greek's has been a great partner of mine. If you remember, Zionsville owner Mike Cole broke the world record for fastest marathon with a pizza. Guy was flying. I love Greek's. Next time you're in the mood for pizza, go to GreeksPizzeria.com. They have locations all across the state. I frequent the location in South Broad Ripple, great tap room there, but they have locations everywhere. They've been doing this since 1968. Over 55 years in business. Go to GreeksPizzeria.com. Order pizza today. Because it is a good feeling too to have it done. Like to have your laundry like, oh yeah, this is all clean and sorted and blah, 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 blah. Like it's a really good feeling, but it is a bear. And it's like once, like every couple weeks, you're like, all right, I'm just going to tackle this thing and go do it. And yeah, okay.
And
so
usually
Poplin.
you're not like, I'm going to not do this thing. I'm going to not do this. But yeah, Poplin, I love it because it's nationwide.
Okay. What were the other things, like initial things that you started to be like, can I just get someone to do that?
Well, we outsource a lot of things. A house cleaner, I think, is a really important one. I say important. Again, it's the same thing. Do it once a month and maintain the rest of it. But that way, one day, everything gets cleaned and you sort of have a baseline that then you can work from. I mean, we outsource our laundry. We outsource our lawn. That was a big one for my husband. And the other, one of my favorites, and I know you have a relationship with NeighborServe, is I have a handyman who comes every 90 days. It is his job to call me every 90 days. And I have a list on my phone, his name is James, of things for him to do. So nothing in my house is ever broken more than 90 days. And my husband doesn't come home after a long trip to a big honey-do list. He doesn't want to do it. I don't want to nag him, but I want it done because I see it because we're home more than he is. So that's another big hack. It's like, I don't know, it's not that much money.
Yeah, we'll plug NeighborServe too. I don't know if this guy does James have a company or is he like
he does, but he's not accepting any more clients. So
go.
let's plug NeighborServe.
So NeighborServe does like the home concierge where they'll like give you reminders. They have a whole platform, but they're also upstairs. Shout out to NeighborServe.
I love the work they do. It's great.
Yeah, it makes so much total sense where instead of having to go out and like get 10 different bids from 10 different vendors and who knows if you're getting ripped off, they'll just like give you a locally owned Home Pro, send you a few options, manage the whole project for you.
Well,
it's
yeah,
awesome.
They manage the quoting, they manage the calling. I mean, I think when you're really busy professional, the hours between 9 and 5 when everybody else is open are precious sacred time.
If you are a 9 to 5er and you like get home and you're chilling, like this may sound out of touch a little bit. You know, like I'm in a point in my life where I go from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And so like right now my gutter is broken. And just like the idea of like having to call like 3 different handymen and like go through this whole thing and like, or go and learn on YouTube how to fix it myself is just like not in the cards at this moment. So having like someone, I just text TJ and I'm like, TJ, help me fix this thing. Like, and it's done. And I'm like that, like having James come every 90 days, that's money.
Well, I think some people may be listening and say like, well, I love to do that. I love to fix my gutter. That's like therapeutic for me. Or I love to mow my lawn. Well, then that's in your extraordinary bucket. You should work to protect the time to be able to do that. My husband those are not things in his extraordinary bucket, and it becomes things in our tension bucket. As a
lot of buckets here.
As a relationship, you know, I just kind of made it go away.
Home manager, kind of like handyman that comes, outsourced laundry, lawn. I feel like lawn and cleaner are like two pretty widely accepted. Like laundry is like you're starting to get out there a little bit. Are there other ones that are kind of like, like people like kind of look at me funny when I say that I outsource?
We have a house manager who comes part-time 2 days a week. And so she does a few things for us. She'll like, he's looking at me like you literally do nothing. It's like,
no,
yep,
but like
that's the point.
But if you work, this is my thing, is like if you work hard enough and do all these things and like want to spend your time doing other things and going to soccer games and swim matches and this, that, and like that makes sense.
Yeah.
I get, and everyone that probably gives you, I don't know, do you ever get like haters in the comments or anything?
My own head trash is that people are like, that must be a life of privilege. And my reaction is like, it's a life of intention.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, so sorry, home manager.
Yeah. So a house manager, they essentially do what you would do if you were home all day long. Pick things up and put them away. She unpacks our Amazon stuff. She takes care of our Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, that's like...
She takes the trash cans to the end of the lane. She like changes sheets on the bed. She washes the rugs. She like organizes things, refills the pantry. She's like does the hours of stuff that it takes. She does a lot of, I love to cook, so she does a lot of the food prep for me. So like prepping veggies
sick.
and
Like those are 1,000 paper cuts.
those
like,
are the 1,000
like,
paper cuts.
In a day, it's like anyone. If you said I pay someone to stock my pantry, yeah, people might look at you a little funny. But if you start to say like this, that, the other thing, blah, blah, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that is your 5 to 9 p.m. Tuesday nights.
Totally.
Like it's all that. So
Yeah, I know. We have a big family. We have a ton of people through our home. We entertain a lot. And it's just how we've decided to spend our time. And it's 8 hours a week. But there's people who have them 45 hours a week.
Home
manager.
Any other things?
Like what else?
Yeah, I love this.
I think that's the core of it.
You know the one that I want? Like I can't wait till I get to the
No.
Yes, that.
That's not on my list, but on some people's.
Driver.
Oh yeah.
Like I want a driver because like there's just times like, and I don't want to, and I'm trying so hard to not text and drive. So
here's my
hard.
question. Have you ever checked to even see how much it costs?
No.
People are chicken on that.
Yeah.
Then you have a target for yourself. Then you can say literally go and quantify over the last 2 months. If you got a driver, how many hours would you get back? Go quantify it.
I'm gonna say 10 hours a week. I mean, I could just do Uber, but like sometimes like I want it to be like quick.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't want
them
to
to wait for you.
$800 to $1,200 a month for 10 hours a week.
For 10 hours a week.
Could drive me to like South Bend every day. Or like 3 days a week.
So like, again, as a business owner, being able to say, okay, once I get to this revenue, I think that affords this additional cost because it probably keeps you from needing to hire an employee or it probably keeps you from, again, for some reason, as entrepreneurs, especially, we don't think there's any value. We don't know how to ascribe value to having the time we need to maintain our personal relationships. We know how to ascribe value to activities that allow us to generate more revenue. But having gone through a season where my marriage was in a really hard spot, the amount of capacity it takes from you to feel disconnected, to be worried, to be wondering, to have cried all night the night before, like all those kinds of things, it's very expensive.
I now have like a gauge for a driver. Yeah. There we go. That's like that's like, I bet you hear that so many times. Like they look at what the thing is and it's like, that's not that bad.
100% of the time, that's the response. And 100% of the time when I say you wish for that, but have you ever actually checked to see how much it costs? Because people, when I say I have all these people, they're like, that must be costing $20,000 a month. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. Like, let's talk about putting this into practice and how you got to like building a course and the content and like really putting this project together to deliver to the world. Like, where does that start?
It started with the podcast. I think it was a way to just like get my thoughts more organized. I'm an external processor. And so hearing myself talk it out, and you probably find this too, like just the trap of having to push record every single week forces synthesis and learning and awareness. But I think I just had and continue to have so many like breakfasts and coffees and lunches with women and families that are at a place where they're like, man, I'm at a spot where I have almost everything I have dreamed of. And for some reason I am so tired and I feel like I'm actually experiencing very little of it. And I feel like I have just the natural gift of communication, and I've been in storytelling and brand building and marketing for the last 20 years. And so just felt a pull towards saying, okay, if we really started to pull this together and put it in a way that other people could access it really easily, what would happen? And so that's what I'm in the process of doing. I stepped out of the agency day to day as of January and, stepped into a new partnership with the IBJ.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of beginning to kind of shove off with more intention and creating some corporate partnerships and doing speaking and just trying to figure out how do I normalize some of this so that we're willing to talk about it so that we can fix it. Yeah.
And so the number one place that you're putting out content, you have your podcast that's now part of the IBJ podcast network. Mm-hmm. When do like episodes start dropping?
Thursdays. Yeah.
Every Thursday?
Yeah, every Thursday.
So is it already through their network now? Is it already,
Yes.
like, the switch is flipped? Okay, sweet. So Thursdays, no longer called Scared Confident, called The Life of And. Mm-hmm. Okay, amazing. So did you change your feed, or is it like a whole new thing?
No, I just changed the feed. Yeah, it was not a big deal, actually.
Yeah, so you're pretty easy. Like you could change your podcast name to anything.
It's
right?
really wild. I thought it was going to be harder.
This whole big thing. And yeah, the big thing is retaining like your current listener base and all that stuff, like, which is so hard to build up for podcasts. Like it takes, how long have you been podcasting?
I'm starting year 5.
Like it is a grind.
It's a grind.
How many episodes?
Almost 300.
Yeah. Like put this in perspective. Oh my gosh. Like I think about the easiest one to compare is like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is at like 2,300 episodes or something like that. Like 5 years got you to 300. I'm at 130, 140-ish.
And you're weekly?
I do twice a week.
Twice a week, yeah.
But I like, it is a great, and I've been doing it for 2 years. It's like, oh my goodness, it takes a ton. So podcast, Life of And, social media, you're putting out, what's the type of content that you share through social media?
It's like usually seasonal application of the information. So like right now we're all going into summer. And so I'm talking about summer priorities, summer explicit agreements, summer, like what's the formula you can think about to like feed your family quickly during the summer because everybody's home. So it's like a seasonal application of the content overall. So it'll move it. Well, I can't talk. We'll move into back to school and then kind of holiday planning. So it's the same toolbox, just applied very seasonally for usually a working mom.
Working mom, you kind of address like the state that they're currently in. What does the process of fixing it, like, I mean, for you guys, you said it was a 2-year journey to like kind of get there. What is that process going to look like for someone who listens to this podcast and is like, you know what? I want more time. I want more enjoyment. I want to be less tired. I want to enjoy time with my significant other or children. How are you going to deliver them from where they are today to where they want to be tomorrow?
Well, I would say start by listening to the podcast. I hope you walk away being like, I'm like 15% inspired, but 85% like I know exactly what to do now. I felt like in my own journey, people were super pumped that I was a female business owner and super excited that I wanted to have a big family. And they thought that was really cool. But nobody really helped me know how to do it better. And so I think the podcast episodes really usually end in like, hey, this is like specifically what to go do right now. If you want to dive in, the course is available on my website. It's a 12-week experience. You have lifetime access to it because we all live in a constant state of change, but in particular, a working mom is always changing. You know, our jobs are changing. The seasons of our kids are changing, whether the kids are in or out of school or in and out of season. All of those create a really huge dynamic of change. And so being able to say, navigating change is a superpower for our family and for me as the chief operating officer of our household. That's really what the skill that I want to give women.
And I think that is so applicable of getting it out of philosophical and into practical, right? Like I listen to a lot of stuff and it's like, you could change your business in 1 year and just grind and blah, 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 or your life, or you can start running a marathon. And it's like, I need people to be like, you can do all that, but it starts with this one domino. Like, hey, Nate, look up how much a driver costs, and now you know what you need to get to like make that happen. Or like, look up how much laundry outsourcing or whatever the thing is, and these other like hacks and tips and tricks to actually like make change.
Yeah, and if you're looking for one very specific place to start, I would give you 2 places. One that costs money, which is send your laundry out for 6 weeks and then make a list on a Post-it note of 3 very specific things you want to do with the time that you're going to get back from not needing to do laundry so that it doesn't evaporate into your time or into your phone or television. So that's number 1. Send it out for 6 weeks. It doesn't need to be for the rest of your life. Test it. Give yourself some energy back and give yourself some time towards your
$180.
Yeah.
Like take $180 and give yourself 6 weeks.
Yes. It's like you'd spend $180. I don't know. We spend it on pizza these days because there are so many people. The other would be to sit down and write down things that piss you off inside of your home. Like, I hate this or it pisses me off, and fix one of them. So you saying, I hate that I'm driving all the time. It's like, and fix that one thing with it's likely there's an implicit agreement in place that needs to be changed to an implicit expectation needs to be moved to an explicit agreement.
I think the inventory is another good idea to do, of just like take inventory of all of your 10,000 paper cuts or the things that piss you off or whatever it is. Because a lot of times it's like, you think in the moment and you're just like, whatever, I'll just have to keep moving forward. And it's like, if you have a list of that, then you can start finding solutions for it. And I think that's like half the battle, whether it's business, your personal life, all these things, is you don't actually like quantify what the negativity, like those negative emotions are. So you can never like start to build solutions. It's just like, oh gosh, there's so many things that are taking all of my time.
And I think we don't understand the size of our decision. You're using the example of driving. My daughter joined a new volleyball club that's further from our house. And when I quantified the hours it was going to take her over 6 months to drive her to that practice, it was 300 hours. And I sat down and said to my husband, neither one of us have 300 hours of capacity. And so we hired a young woman to take her to practice and back, and paid for a Planet Fitness membership for her to work out while my daughter's at practice. And she gets to work out, and we have a driver, and it just like, and we pay her, but it's not that much when you look at 300. That's almost 10 weeks of time. If you think about a working
300 hours.
It's crazy.
That is a lot of time to spend in the car.
People don't sit and say like, "Holy cow!" It was taking me. It doesn't matter, but anyway,
I love this. My number one,
quantify it.
I was literally talking to one of my friends the other day, and I was like, one day when I have kids, it's like I need like an adult gym wherever like my kids. Like let's say they play football. It's like I want like a treadmill set up on the edge, so I'm not just like sitting in my car.
Yeah.
It's like, wrestling practice, like cool. There's a gym where like parents can hit their workout too while their kids go and get better at their sport.
Yep.
Boom. Take that idea. That's a free $1 million business idea. Tiffany, this has been awesome. If people want to connect with you or learn more about the life of And, you said website, social media, or your handles.
Yeah, Tiffany Sauder everywhere, Sauder, and TiffanySauder.com, Sauder, is my website.
Amazing. We have a couple fun questions here at the end that we like to wrap up with. So the first one is our Younger Years segment. It's brought to you by our friends at Our Fellowship. They're a great organization here in Indiana helping develop young business leaders across the state. You were a board member, still a board member?
No, I was.
Was a board member. I was an Or Fellow. Like, great experience. Tiffany, what advice would you give to your 22-year-old self?
Learn how to sell.
Everything, whether it's selling yourself for a job, HR, marketing, the whole thing, it's sales.
Yeah, totally. If you're an engineer and you're trying to get funding for a big project, if you're, a scientist and you're like, sales is just I think it is the oxygen to business. And if you know how to do that, no matter what force is at play inside of business in particular, you're going to have a job.
I want to do two sides of the coin. What was the worst business advice you were ever given and the best business advice you were ever given?
The business advice that like pissed me off the most, I don't know if it was bad advice, but I had a very accomplished kind of senior statesman of Indianapolis that I met with for coffee one time. And he told me that I would be doing well with my business if I could pay my mortgage. And that's probably the most I could hope for, to like not actually transition it to additional leadership or, have a transaction or something someday. Because my business, the agency world, it's kind of not known for its grand exits. And it pissed me off in a way where I was like, watch me. Watch me make this more than just paying my mortgage.
I love that. Obviously, yeah, that's so sick. Sometimes it's like nice to have a little bit of like the list or like some like fire to go like.
Yeah, I think
down.
it still makes me mad actually.
That's good. That's just
so that was the worst advice. You said, what's the best
advice?
Probably as a leader that it's all your fault, meaning when the business performs, that's your fault. And when it doesn't, that's your fault too. And when you can take ownership of those two with equal fervor, then you have agency and control over the outcomes in your life.
I had my first full-time employee starting in June. Terrified, nervous, the whole thing. Robert, he's the editor. He's going to hear this. But it's also like taking the ownership of like, well, not only does the business success, but like this is his first job coming out of Ball State. Like I will be his first boss ever. And I'm like, I want to make sure he has a great experience and take ownership over like that experience. And it's funny that you said that's some of the best advice, because it also is very, your identity does get wrapped up in that of like taking ownership of this thing. I think that's...
Well, I think what can happen is when times are good, you blame luck. And when times are bad, you blame the economy or, your industry or something like that. And in both of those, you're not saying, no, it is the people I put in place. It's the clarity I was able to give. And that's not saying that you did all of the work to make it successful. But as the leader, it's your job to put people in places where they can be clear about what they need to do, the most important priority for the business, and actually get that thing done. And when times are bad, when you blame all the environmental things around it, you're not taking agency over like, no, this is my fault. I don't know how to navigate this environment, and I need to own that.
Obviously, you host the Life of Ann podcast, but when you're not hosting a podcast, is there a specific podcast that you love to listen to that gives you a ton of good inspiration, motivation, or just enjoyment?
Esther Perel has a podcast called Where Do We Begin? Where you listen in on a live therapy session. She's like a world-renowned relationship therapist. And it's incredible, because it's just like salacious to hear other people's stuff. But the other thing that I have found is that she just brings out incredibly relevant principles to just relationships and connection and intimacy. And so they can be thoughtful conversation starters. Like sometimes I'll send it to JR and be like, can you listen to this and let's like talk about this? Because I think that this is kind of going on for us right now.
That's kind of like the old school like talk radio. Like there's a bunch of like where someone calls in and is like, it's
100% that.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's 100%
or like,
that.
We talked about it before. We talked about Pete the Planner, but like before Pete the Planner, or like maybe around the same time, was like the Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Where someone calls in and is like, I'm bankrupt, I'm losing my house, like blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, you need to start here.
Yeah, they screen him for the most salacious. Yeah. For sure. There's a producer involved.
I wonder if I could, what kind of Indiana stories could we tell on here that people would want to like call in and listen to? That would be really interesting.
Yeah. So
because people love that.
Esther Perel.
Perel. Okay. We're getting to the point where we have the same 3 questions that I ask everyone who comes on the show. So the first one is, what is something the world needs to know about Indiana?
You know, my goal is to make this to be even more true, but the environment for professional women and for female entrepreneurs, I think in Indiana is just incredible. I have such a deep bench of women who are navigating a similar, you know, sort of path in life that have become some of my very dearest friends. And so I'm really proud of that about the state and about the city. And I think that's something people need to know about.
Yeah, and I think this is like a moment too where it appears from the outside looking in that we're also leaning into, you know, women in sport. And oh my gosh, Allison Barber is like on her journey to build the new facility, and just like we want to be. I think it's in the Indy Sports Court thing, like the capital of women's sport. Like that's awesome.
Yeah,
the Indy Igniter in town. Like this is really
and they're
cool.
like they just made the like essentially the equivalent of the playoffs. Indy Ignite did the new professional volleyball team. So yeah, I think in a way that feels really authentic and sustainable, there is really a moment for women in this city and state, and I don't feel like it's a big hype campaign. It's really some massive moves being made, and it's really cool.
Well, and I have to like give you some credit here. Like you are like a trailblazer when it comes to women in business in Indianapolis. You were the first female chair. What's the word of YPO?
Yeah, the chapter chair.
Chapter chair.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a trailblazer, but thank you for that. So YPO has been a massive just difference maker in my life. It's a organization for young presidents. You have to be under 45 years old to get in. And yeah, I was the first female chapter chair. So it's essentially the person to lead the organization. And it had been around for 74 years. So I'm very proud of that. I think you may experience this too. Having worked for myself for most of my career, having been chosen by my peers to lead them was a really special defining moment for me.
And it's not what we did talk about earlier. It's like you have to know yourself, and it's not about extral validation, but like that's a pretty cool one.
It was very cool. That's awesome. It's in the top 5 moments for me.
Do you know Will Schuler?
Yeah, for sure.
I had him on. He was first female chapter chair.
Yeah.
And youngest member ever.
Yeah.
He is he not insane?
He is
like in
insane.
The best way possible.
He's insane.
He told his story, and I was just like, dude.
Yeah.
That guy. Like I'm like, oh, I work hard, and he's like, yeah, I would get to the job site at like 5 p.m. on Friday, and I wouldn't leave until Sunday.
I know.
I'm like, dude.
No, that's like no exaggeration.
Yeah, he's amazing. Youngest member of YPO, first female chapter chair. I love it. Okay, this is the question. You get to shed some light on something new, or maybe that doesn't get as much love as it should be. What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
Well, have you heard of Martell Forest? Okay, so it's outside of West Lafayette, and it has like almost 1,000 feet of elevation on like this 6 mile loop around it. So Martell Forest is the name of it. And it feels like you're not in Indiana. My parents just did Rim to Rim in Arizona, like
That's
across
awesome.
the Grand Canyon. And they use that as a huge part of their training. My sister lives in Arizona, have done this race called 7 Peaks. So you climb 7 mountains in a day in Arizona. And so if you're trying to train for some elevation in any way, or like 29029, Martell Forest is an awesome place to.
I'm literally sending it. So we're training for Rim to Rim right now.
You are?
We're going to go in October. We're going across and back. The full thing.
So my parents are 67 and 66 and 68, I think. And they just finished it this week. A couple days ago.
Did they do, so they go across?
They went south to north.
Nice.
They just went rim to rim, not
which
back
is
to
like
rim.
Already
It's
an insane.
23 miles.
Yeah. And then it's like we're going to be psycho enough to drop back in after that. It's like a 16 or 17 hour thing, but it's going to be crazy.
That's really cool.
Okay, Martell Forest.
You need to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're literally building our training plan right now. And we were like, okay, we'll go to Brown County. We'll go down
So
there.
they would do like 2 to 3 laps. And yeah, you'll get great.
Heck yeah.
They said
and
it
it's
was
not
really
too
good.
far away.
Mount Morenci.
Mount Morenci, yeah. But it's one word. It's not like
Mount
Mount
Morenci.
Morenci.
Yeah,
It's
Mount Morenci.
Mount Morenci. There you go. In case people were
Morenci.
wondering. Mount Morenci, Indiana, 47906, in case people were wondering. We're going to insert one last question in here.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of male listeners to the show here.
Okay.
If there was a perfect Indiana/Indianapolis date night that our guys need to take their ladies out on, how would you like describe that? You get this time back because you learn from the life of hand.
Yes.
What do you need to do? What's the date night?
I love something active and then something connected. So I would say go like play pickleball or do something like that. And then it's just kind of old school, but I'm a big Bakersfield fan, like the taco joint. So like go sit outside there and then maybe like go get cleaned up and then go out for like swanky drinks at like the Bemberg.
Yeah.
So I think go do something active, play pickleball or something like that. Then go get like a casual, like let's go eat something kind of like finger food. Let's go get cleaned up and then let's go to the Bemberg.
I keep hearing about the Bemberg. I'm going to go check it out, I think in June. But
It's sweet.
It seems pretty cool.
And you can get like Livery is one of our favorite restaurants. So also Rooftop at Livery. I think it's like chef's kiss every time.
Final question of the day. You get to share the love with someone that we need to know about. Who's a Hoosier that we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
It's Rachel Downey. She runs a company called Share Your Genius, which is a podcast production company. And they do more than just podcasting. It's like really new media and helping people expand their messaging. And she's a marketing major and a theater major. And so she's this very interesting intersection of kind of this conceptual artist in her mind and also practically understanding things like needing a good hook and how to like actually approach the internet. So I think the intersection of her brain is the future of where marketing is going because it is part performance and theater and relationship building. And also you have to practically understand the way that these very complex ecosystems like the internet and AI and social media work. And I think she's somebody to watch.
That's a really good answer. Yeah, they do a ton of really good work podcasts. I love that new media.
Yeah.
Yes, we're in the new media space. Yeah, I love that. But I do think that having a background in whether it's like theater or arts or anything like that, like being able to sit in the intersection between like how to actually make this thing and this business all come together and the creative side, like it's a game changer. Like, I don't know, just being like theatrical. If you want something to go viral or you want to like create good content or host a good podcast, you need a little bit of the arts.
Do you find you can do that stuff in the same day, Nate? Or do you have to like time bound because you've got to run the business and do billing and then.
The billing and the admin work is like, I kind of fill it in the cracks of stuff. Cause like ideally I get that outsourced at some point soon. But what I get fired up about is like writing a good script and creating content and like doing that. And then like closing, selling deals, like, because I can see in the partnership where it's like we sit down and it's like, oh, like I just released a video with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, which was like the money, like that's like the perfect sponsor for me. And I was like talking to them through the meeting and like pitching this idea. And like then the creative juices start going and I'm like, yeah, and it's the history of transportation to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and like this creation of the infield and all this stuff. And they get excited and I'm excited. And then I get to go like bring that thing to life.
Yeah,
like that's really
cool.
fun. But I would probably like say I stuff the cracks with like I have literally outstanding like fill out your W-9 and like send. Like, yeah, I probably need to get paid at some point for some of this stuff. So, but I think people that can do both of those and figure out how, because I think that one side of this, we're going to go into this for just a little bit before we close it out. One side of the spectrum that's easy is like making an entertaining video. Like if you're funny, it's like, that's not that hard to do. Like, a lot of like theater majors can like find a video to go viral on Instagram. And once you study the algorithm a little bit, but this is where the true magic comes. Finding a video that you would make that's interesting, that will go viral, that people are going to pay for and people are going to watch. That's like, if you can put all of those three things together where a sponsor is fired up to pay you to create this video that people are excited to watch, like crack that code permanently, and that's how you make it. And that's like been the fun challenge to put together over the last year.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool. I love it. Tiffany, thank you so much for coming on, talking about the life of Anne. Congrats on the new partnership with IBJ Podcast Network and all the cool stuff that's going to be coming out there. Make sure you guys go and follow Tiffany on Instagram. She puts a ton of fun content. As a 28-year-old single guy, it's a great follow. I enjoy it. I learn a bunch of life hacks that are either going to be useful now or down the road for me. Thank you for being an amazing mentor of mine. Thank you for coming on the show, and keep up the good work.
Thanks, Nate. Appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all of my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.